this story.
I don't think it's a story. I think it's just an idea. Like, because the Cowboys currently have the fourth overall
So I could get Trevor Lawrence, who's going to cost nothing, or Dak, who's going to cost a lot, who I don't think is as good as Trevor Lawrence.
Well, so for the Jets, they would obviously move off of Sam Darnold,
yes.
so they'd get another first-round pick, and they'd have the Cowboys' fourth pick, and Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I don't. I know.
So you'd have a proven quarterback, who I think everyone at this point certainly thinks is better than Sam Darnold.
Yes, he's been better, yes.
And you'd have two first-round picks.
Well, they don't need draft capital. The Jets got nothing but picks. What they need is players. They have a zillion picks.
But, I mean, they could package those picks for other players.
I'd like to get this Pro Football Focus person identified. This feels like what our marketing department did.
I mean, it's very exciting.
For us,
It's
yes.
very exciting to imagine. I don't think there's any chance of this happening. I think the Jets are going to take Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is not going to force his way out of New York because that's, I mean, force yourself to where? Like, you'd have to find a situation that is more ideal than New York. And if you're looking at the other teams that need quarterbacks, the current draft order, Jets, Jags, Bengals, Cowboys, Chargers, and Eagles round up the top six. So, you want to force your way to Jacksonville?
No, I think I know, as long as the Jets and Jags and the Bengals keep losing, I absolutely believe I know what the first three picks of I think Trevor Lawrence, Jets, Justin Fields, Jags, and Penei Sewell, Bengals. All three of those are great fits. Then you get into the Dallas at 4. What I would do if I was Dallas, I would just trade down, because what I'm looking for is more picks, cheaper labor. Because they're not going to take a quarterback, even though I would. Dallas is not taking a quarterback. They're going to stick with Dak. That's fine. What Dallas needs is, like, players, because they're so top-heavy. They need...
And if they stick with Dak, they're going to have to pay him $40 million.
That's right. Like, this is what Seattle did a couple years ago when they signed the Russell Wilson contract. They had 4 picks. They turned it into 11 picks before the draft. It's like, okay, we got to get inexpensive on the defensive side. And so that's what Dallas needs to do with Seattle. Trade that number 4 pick. By the way, it's going to be a great... Jerry's a deal maker. So there's going to be 4 to 5 teams calling on that Dallas Cowboy pick. Because if I'm Cincinnati, I don't move because I have maybe I do. It's a good offensive line. I think both the Bengals and Cowboys potentially will take phone calls and move.
I thought there was going to be a lot more movement in this draft than there was.
I know,
too.
But this draft has 5 quarterbacks first round, 2 are stars. I think we're going to have a crazy draft.
I hope so. This one did not have the movement that I thought it was going to, even though it did turn out to be a great draft. So the Chargers haven't officially been eliminated from the playoffs yet, but their chances are slim, sitting at the bottom of the AFC West. And Anthony Lynn says he's being realistic with his team on what they are really playing for these last few games.
We talked about today, playing for each other. The playoff hunt is probably not going to happen at this point. 8-8 is the best we can do, and I don't think that's going to be good enough. But we play for each other, and we play for the love of the game.
Well, Anthony Lynn's record with the Chargers is 29-30. A losing record would be the team's second in a row after going 21-11 and winning a playoff game over Anthony Lynn's first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So whether or not he gets a 5th season is kind of going to be dependent on how much they consider those first 2 seasons. We talked about this yesterday. The Chargers are in L.A. They're in a market that is completely saturated, not with teams, not with entertainment, but high-level teams.
All winning.
All winning with lots of stars.
And they have to sell tickets, and they're giving away tickets.
Yes, well, as of right now, nobody's worried about tickets, but they will be eventually, and they're going to need something that is going to get people there. Now, I think Justin Herbert's done an amazing job, so they know that they have a star in him.
And
I would go watch him.
They also have a world-class pass rusher in Joey Bosa. Like, they have a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, they have lots of great players and fun players and talent. Are they going to be able to put it all together is the question, and this year has been a huge disappointment. And obviously it didn't start the way they thought it would. They thought they were going to have Tyrod Taylor, but Justin Herbert's been amazing. I don't know if Anthony Lynn is there next year, and I don't know if that's necessarily fair, but I also don't know how much, similar to college football, not for the money reasons that are in college football, I don't know how many changes like that, dramatic changes, are going to happen around the NFL, other than the teams that, like, obviously the Falcons that had been, consistent for a while.
I mean, whether it's fair or not, I just think the Chargers will make a move. I think what happens in the NFL, you can sense momentum. Like right now, you're like Giants, good momentum. Dolphins, good momentum. Carolina losing, good momentum.
Yeah.
Chargers, bad momentum. And I think when you have bad momentum, you got to move off it. Like Bill O'Brien won a lot of division titles, but when it started this year, 0-4, you're like, okay, Bill was winning, and we knew he wasn't a good GM, but the momentum turned, and, Dave Wanstead always says this. You can lose a game, you can't lose a locker room.
Yeah.
And if you start losing these close games after a while, you start losing the trust, the momentum.
Well, it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy after a while. So the Browns are on a 3-game winning streak and are in a great position to make the playoffs with an 8-3 record, but Baker Mayfield also hasn't thrown an interception in the last 4 games.
That's good.
But he's not satisfied with how he has been playing.
I'm very critical of my play. It's just I pride myself on being an accurate passer, and I didn't do that. So I'm going to beat myself up about that because I know I can be better, and it pisses me off when I don't do the things I need to. I'm trying to get better each week, and that's taking care of the ball, and that's completing these passes that should be made in my sleep.
Yeah, he's right.
I don't know what to make of the Browns. I don't want to be extra critical because they are playing great and they deserve the credit. And I think Stefanski's done an amazing job.
I think we all know what they are.
Yeah, I just feel like they'll
have the worst quarterback in the playoffs, and that means they're not going to last long. I mean, if you start looking at quarterbacks that are going to make it, low-end guy would be to some like Derek Carr. Well, Derek Carr is better than Baker Mayfield. Like right now, by far.
I just feel about them the way that I feel about the Titans, but I feel better about the Titans than I do about the Browns.
Yes.
They go as their running game goes, both of these teams. But if they have to rely on their quarterback, I'm going to trust Ryan Tannehill more than I'm going to trust Baker Mayfield.
And that's absolutely what you should do because Ryan's a better quarterback. And this is not a shot at Baker, but I think actually almost more than any team, I think we know what Cleveland is. They have to play a certain way to win.
They're a limited team, but that's just an evaluation. Like everything's not a criticism. That's just an evaluation of what they are.
Yeah, that's what they are.
They should be completely happy with. They should be thrilled with this season. They're having an amazing season, and Stefanski is completely righted the ship there. And it seems like he is finally establishing a culture in Cleveland
when nobody.